Lovely starshine lights my way to bed. Magic rainbows glisten in my head. Just like a child I live in Wonderland. All my dreams are coming true.
Hi, and welcome to Handmade by Ditsy Tulip. I'm Mel. I'm not sure if this is going to be my first or second video in 2019, but just in case it's the first, Happy New Year. If it's my second, then I will have already told you that. But anyway, I am recording this, this is actually the first video that I've recorded. All over Christmas I've been laid up with a cold, which then developed into sinusitis, so if I do kind of cough and splutter a little bit during this video, I do apologise in advance. But let me tell you what this video is going to be about. This is actually part 2 of sewing the ginger jeans. Now you may recall back in, I think it was summertime, I recorded part 1 of the ginger jeans, and then my overlocker machine broke, so they got put in a UFO pile and didn't get back out again until just yesterday. So I do apologise it's taken so long to carry on with those. If you've not already seen part 1, I'll put a card or put a link in the video notes. In part 1, I just kind of show you some hints and tips on cutting out the denim, making sure that you're on the grain and making sure you don't get twisted legs when working with stretch denim and things like that. The quality of the video isn't great, it does go blurry in some sections, but you can get the gist of what I'm talking about, no problem at all. So that's the second thing that I will say. You'll see I'm not in my usual place where I record videos. I'm actually in the sewing room and I get really poor lighting in here. There's only kind of one small window which has got a fence behind it, so it blocks out quite a bit of the light, so I'm having to use fake light. What that also means is you might see the camera kind of coming in and out and refocusing a little bit, so do bear with me, do apologise if that is the case, but that's the only way I can get it recorded in such poor lighting. So this is part 2 of sewing the ginger jeans, and it's only a short video. I'm going to show you the steps that I did yesterday, which was constructing the back pockets and the coin pocket, so nothing overly complicated, but I'm going to go through some hints and tips on working with top stitch thread. What I want to show you first of all, one thing that I have found that has really helped is to, if you've got them, get different sewing machines set up for doing different tasks. So I've actually got 3 sewing machines set up on my table. I've got my main genome machine, which I use for sewing the seams and the main construction. I've got my baby lock overlocker, which is of course for finishing the edges, because I'm not going to do the true flat felled seams. I'm going to do the fake flat felled seams. And then I've got a vintage Bernina that you can just see in the background here, which is absolutely wonderful for top stitching. It just melts through the fabric and doesn't jam up at all. So I've got that set up with the top stitch thread. So I'm just going to flick over to a different video where I'll just show you in a bit more detail the setup of those machines. Okay, so just to show you the machines that I'm using for the ginger jeans, so you can see I've got all 3 machines just set out on the table. So my kind of sewing machine I'm using for sewing the seams and the main construction will be my Genome Memory Craft 9000, and I have got a walking foot attached to that one, which helps when you're going through multiple layers of denim. I've then got the Baby Lock Imagine, which I am using for the overlocking. I've decided to keep pink thread on the machine just because that's what was already on it, and then I thought I quite like the idea of having pink overlocking on the inside for a slightly different look. Although I've got 4 threads on the machine, I'm actually only using a 3 thread overlock just so that it gives a slightly less bulky finish. And then this is the vintage Bernina machine that I've got that I am using for top stitching. So this is a real workhorse of a machine, very basic in relation to what it can do, but what it has been doing is just melting through the fabric when I'm doing top stitching. And I am using the kind of thick top stitch thread. I've got the standard foot attached, and I've got the thick top stitch thread and the needle, as you saw, but then in the bobbin I've just got a standard normal cotton thread. Okay, so here are the pockets that I've constructed. So I've got the 2 back pockets, and I've got one of the pocket facings which has got the coin pocket attached. So I'll bring them in closer and show you in more detail in just a second. So you did see on the video where I showed you the machines that I am using the proper top stitch thread, which is thicker. It does give a really nice finish on your top stitching on denim. So the first tip is to make sure that you're using the right type of needle to accommodate that thicker thread. You can buy jeans or denim needles, and they've got a larger eye, which just helps to make sure that the thread doesn't get all kind of tangled up and doesn't shred itself as it's sewing, because then that jams up your machine. So yeah, you can get the special machine needles for working with denim, or what I've actually got attached to the Bernina for the top stitch is the Genome red tip needles, because they have got a larger eye. They're used to kind of accommodate embroidery thread and things like that, and I found that that's worked perfectly fine as well, because they are what I'd got in my stash. So let me bring these in a little bit closer to show you. You can see this is the back jean pocket, and one thing I want to point out is you've got a curved edge on one side and it's more straight on the other, and it's important that you don't lose which side is the curved edge, because that helps to give it a nice shape around your bum. So here are the pockets that have been constructed. So there's nothing complicated at all. You do have a pattern piece for interfacing as well, which is just a strip like that runs along the top. So you apply the interfacing, you then fold it over by 2 centimetres and then just fold under the raw edge. And then you do 2 rows of top stitching. Once you've top stitched, what you then simply do is press the edges under, making sure you keep that curve on the curved edge. So you can see what I've done to make sure I don't forget which side is which is I've just put a little chalk cross on the curved edge side. So there's one pocket, and there's the other. You then construct the coin pocket in the same way. So you've got interfacing at the top. You will sew your 2 lines of top stitch along the top. You then attach it to the pocket facing. There's a mark on the pattern with where you line it up to, and then do 2 rows of top stitching along the side there to secure it. So then you've got a little coin pocket. What you then do is overlock around the edge just to finish those edges together. Memory card just got full, so I'm not quite sure where it recorded up to. I think I was just saying that last time I made the ginger jeans, I didn't have the vintage Bernina, I just used the Genome. And what I would find is when I was trying to do a back stitch to secure the thread like you would normally when you're sewing, the machine didn't like it at all, and it would jam up. It would get huge thread nests at the back. The machine would make really scary noises, so it just wouldn't do the back stitching at all. This machine I've found doesn't have those same problems. It's fine with doing the back stitching, but I've just got some hints and tips for if your machine doesn't like it, like the Genome doesn't. So the first thing that I would say is, if you are sewing a row of stitches which is going to get enclosed in another seam, or like for example on this, it will get top stitched again when I attach the pockets to the jeans, I don't need to worry too much about securing the ends of the thread here, because it will get secured anyway where it gets stitched over. So all you can simply do is leave the threads longer and then trim them off afterwards, making sure that there's enough to kind of keep it out of the way, and then that will get secured when it's stitched over. However, on an area such as on the coin pocket here, so on the corner, then of course you do need to secure that, because that's not going to get enclosed in any other seam or any other stitch lines. So if your machine won't do a back stitch, all you simply need to do is leave the thread long. So make sure you've got a piece of thread about that long when you start and stop the stitch line. Sew your line without doing, sew your stitching without doing a back stitch, and then when you're finished, use a hand sewing needle to thread the top stitch thread, thread it into the hand sewing needle, and then push it back through the jeans. And then on the back you'll have the bobbin thread, so you can just then tie a knot with the top stitch and the bobbin thread and secure it by hand that way. So then you're not risking getting your machine jammed up or breaking your machine and those really scary noises that it makes. So yeah, on corners such like that, just make sure you remember to keep the threads long and then finish them off by hand. With the overlocking, I think I mentioned when I recorded the machines, I decided to use a 3-thread overlock rather than 4-thread, because it looks a little bit less bulky, and it also then costs less because I'm only using 3 cones of the thread rather than 4. I don't need it to use 4 thread if I'm constructing a garment using the overlocking, and it's just kind of neatening the edges. It's not being used to construct the garment at all, so 3 thread is absolutely fine. I did also decide to keep the thread pink. Number one, because that's what was already on the machine and it saves me from having to change it. But then I thought as well, this is the fabric that I'm using for the inner pockets, and it's got pinks in there, so I thought that would contrast quite nicely with the inside of the jeans. And of course my top stitch thread is orange, and there's also bits of orange in here as well. So I've got the blue which comes out of the denim, I've got the pink, and I've got the orange. So yeah, I thought how that would work out. And that is it. So that is the step 2 of the ginger jean. So I've just kind of constructed the pockets together. You can, if you want to, decorate the pockets with some extra top stitch detail. I've decided not to. I like that my pockets to be kept quite simple, but if you do decide that you want to do some fancy top stitching, just make sure you interface the back of the pockets as well, because otherwise they will get stretched out of shape as you add that decorative detail. But I'm just going to keep mine plain and simple. I will do some top stitching around the edge of the pocket when I attach them to the back of the jeans. So that's it, that is part 2, and I will see you very soon in part 3. Have a wonderful week, whatever you're up to, and I will see you very soon. Bye.
Heavy shackles used to hold me down. Now my feet don't even reach the ground. Just like a prisoner when his sentence ends, all my dreams are coming true.